Hey, shalom. This is Dan. I was just reading this cookbook here. I love cooking, and I was trying to figure out what kind of snack I should make tonight for myself. I was thinking about these. What do you think? Anyway, hey, here's the deal. I love cooking so much, but there's a recipe that you gotta follow. And so I'm going through here and I'm looking at the recipes, making sure I got all the stuff I need. But as I was doing this, it kind of reminded me of something I read in the Torah today. It reminded me of our next Torah portion, honestly, and it translates from the Hebrew into English as contributions. Now, I know that seems kind of weird, but let me explain to you a little bit more in depth here. This Torah portion is coming from Exodus 25:1 through 27:19. And again, it means contributions. And what happened at the very beginning here, Moses is taking an offering because he's instructed by God to do so. But the people weren't required to give. They were only told to give if they felt that they should. Now, there were certain things that they were collecting. Now, it's not the same kind of thing we would think of where it was money or something like that, but the items that they were collecting were specific. Here's what they were supposed to be. The offering was supposed to be of either gold or silver or bronze, purple, blue, or scarlet yarn, fine linen, goat hair, ram skins that were dyed red, hides of sea cows, not exactly sure what that is, acacia wood, olive oil, spices, gems, or stones. Now you might be saying the same thing I did when I read this. What do those things specifically have to do with anything? Why would God be asking for those things? Well, as we read on, we find that they were specifically asked for because they would be the items that would be used to start crafting the tabernacle. Now, here we got Moses. He's up on top of Mount Sinai. He's getting the blueprints from God about what the dimensions were, what the items were supposed to look like, all this type of stuff that would go into making the tabernacle. The first thing that God starts giving requirements on is the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark. Now, we know it as, from Indiana Jones, he searched for it, and then it makes a reappearance in the third one where he's trapped underneath the water, and then the lady says, "What's that?" And he goes, "That's the Ark." And she says, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "I'm really sure," because he did the whole thing with it in the first movie. But let's talk outside of Indiana Jones. Let's talk about what the Ark of the Covenant was supposed to look like. Now, God gave specifics, and he said that they were to make the Ark specific to God's dimensions, and it was supposed to be a pure gold, 3 3/4 feet long, and 2 1/4 foot high. Okay, so we got this gold box, and it has certain dimensions, and on top of it was supposed to be cherubim. They were supposed to be fixed, and their wings were supposed to touch a certain way, and all that type of stuff. And then it was supposed to be allowed to open on the inside for them to put certain things in. Now, when we read later on in the Bible, we see that we have Aaron's rod is in there, and it blossomed. It had I think it was almonds on it or so. We also read that the Ten Commandments are in there, and we also read that they kept a portion of manna, and all of them are still in the Ark. That Ark was first built here in Exodus 25. Now, there are other things, though, that they were told to make as well. That's just one of them. They were also told to make a table of acacia wood, and this table was supposed to be covered in pure gold. They were to make a 7-stem menorah. Now, I have a small 7-stem menorah, and I also have the Hanukkah, which is what we use at Hanukkah, and it's got 9 stems on it. But this one was specific. It was supposed to be a 7-stem menorah. It was all supposed to be one piece, and it was all supposed to be gold. Now check this out, because when I was reading this today, I thought, oh my gosh, that must have been heavy. It was supposed to be, with all the gold and all the stuff that was done, it weighed 66 pounds. Can you imagine your candelabra being 66 pounds? I don't know, mine probably weighs 2 or 3 pounds at the most or so, but 66 pounds for a candle, that is awesome. When I read that, I was a little bit amazed there. But here's the thing, God is into the details. right? It's just like cooking. I can make the recipe and I can do a pretty good job, but if I don't follow the recipe exactly, it's not going to taste or it's not going to look just like what the picture or what it's supposed to taste like. So we see this thing, this is the common theme in this Torah portion, that God is giving details. Now look what else he talks about. He's talking about the lining that would go around the tabernacle. It says it's 42 foot long, 6 feet wide, and it's supposed to join these sections together in groups of 5, fasten them together as one unit, and the sheets would be fashioned for the tabernacle. They were supposed to be made of goat hair. Then they were supposed to take goat hair for the tent, and there was 11 parts, and they were all 45 by 6 feet wide sheets. These are the requirements that God is laying down. Planks would be set in place for the sheets to be crafted, to hang on, to be separated with, like little fence posts. And they would be seen around the whole holy place. And inside was the Holy of Holies, and inside there would be the Ark of the Covenant. Outside in the courtyard would be the menorah and the table. And then we also read that there was the altar that was being built. And as we get into Leviticus and all, we start reading about some of the sacrifices that were being done. We find that there was a lot of sacrifices that were being done right here on that altar that they were crafting. And then it talks here in the end, the south side had tapestries on it. It was 150 foot just for one side. Now all these blueprints God is giving Moses while he's up on Mount Sinai. But here's one thing I want to notice. It says, as long as these rules and dimensions were followed by God, as God had instructed them, then Israel would walk in God's blessing and obedience. Now, here's the part that really challenged me as I was reading through this Torah portion. See, because it seems like it's very easy to say. There were too many rules here. There were too many details. But it's no different than you and I's life, because God, again, is all about the details. He's all about the specifics. God gives us specifics for our life as well. So, God wanted to be first place with his people. He wanted them to do as he asked them to do, and because of that, he would bless them. And he wanted to commune with them. That's why they made this place, because God said that he wanted a place where he could commune with his people. But it's no different than you and I. God is still looking for a place where he can commune. And here's the thing that really caught my attention. You see, when we sin, we separate ourselves from God. Nobody could go into the Holy of Holies if they had any kind of sin. And we see this even in later on, I think it's in Luke, where we see the parents of John the Baptist, and his dad took the time, Zechariah I think his name was, his dad took the time to do what was the ceremony of cleansing so that he could walk into the Holy of Holies, and he could be in there unblemished. And so God does not like sin. That's common theme throughout the entire Bible there. God doesn't like sin. But what happens when we sin? We make this separation. Now God, through Jesus Christ, made a way for us to be forgiven. And we have that cleansing. But it's no different. God wanted a place to be with his people, and God wants to be with us. Sin separated them. God made a way for that sin to be broken. Back then it was the sacrificing of animals. For us, it was in the New Testament, the New Covenant, where Jesus became that sacrifice for us. But it all comes back down to the details of he wants to have a relationship with us. I want to have a relationship with him. I hope I want my relationship with him as strongly as he wants his relationship with me. And I hope that you want a relationship with God as strongly as he wants one with you as well. But it comes down to the whole part of obedience and following his details. You know, I think back to baking that snack, which I'm probably going to do when I get done here. But I can make it and I can not follow the direction and wonder why it's not working, or I can follow the direction. I can follow the details, the blueprints that recipe has outlined, and it'll taste and look just like it's supposed to. The choice is mine. The choice is yours. Are we going to listen to the details that God is asking us to do, or are we not? And then we're going to wonder why it didn't work. I hope we make the right choice. Shalom. This is Dan.